It's still incredibly sad that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is finally coming to an end. With the final wave of its DLC Booster Pass just releasing a couple of weeks ago, it is completely done. And Nintendo even put the seal stamp approval on it, adding a brand new post-game credits, which is kind of crazy and it makes it kind of surreal for me. But after spending almost 10 years with this game and 2 extra years of DLC all the way at the end, I had to sit and look at this game as a whole, and I want to talk about how good the DLC was. What are the things that it should have included, what are the things that I think it missed, and how good was each wave. I want to go wave by wave and talk about how good Nintendo did. At the very end, we'll also look once again at each track that was missing from each game and talk about if there were any tracks that Nintendo should have just threw us a bone that they left out. But let's dive in. But wait, real quick. 16.9% of you guys are not yet subscribed. So stop what you're doing right now. If you enjoy Mario Kart content, let's see how many people we can get to subscribe from this one video. It'll only take a second. But thank you guys so much. Now, let's jump into the video. Now, this overall is going to be a laid-back talk as we just casually look through the waves together. And Wave 1 had some interesting tracks for sure. Starting off with Paris Promenade, a city track, which was pretty good. You know, you're going around Paris, there's not a lot to talk about, but this is where we start to see the graphical change in Mario Kart. And yes, the graphics are a lot different. And personally, I do not hate them. I actually think they're kind of cool. I can completely understand with textures and stuff like Toad Circuit, which was a weird track to come back from Mario Kart 7, but there was like no grass textures and no mud textures, no sand textures at all. It just looked bland and flat. But I did like the colors. It popped for me, and it felt more Mario than some of the more hyper-realistic environments that we got in base game. But for the most part, I definitely understood the complaints from people, and we would see this new art style with all 48 tracks in the DLC. But outside of Toad Circuit, there weren't really a lot of complaints. Considering the fact this is the first wave and the first time we were getting these city tracks from Mario Kart Tour, I don't think a lot of people were making complaints about the city tracks until later on down the road when we just started getting so many. I mean, we got a fan favorite Coconut Mall, so you can't do a lot of complaining there. Tokyo Blur was a little, well, I'd actually say a lot underwhelming considering the fact that it was not a blur at all. It was like Tokyo Walk. But then one of my favorite tracks in the entire game, Shroom Ridge. I don't know why. I never really loved it as much on the DS, but just seeing it here again for some reason, it's just a vibes track that I was so happy to see back. And Sky Garden, I think Wave 1 did a pretty good job, especially with the confirmation that we were also getting Nitro tracks and new ones that they were developing for Mario Kart Tour, so that was pretty awesome because I love Ninja Hideaway. We were on a pretty good roll with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's DLC Booster Pass, but then Wave 2 comes in with possibly the worst Nitro track in my opinion with Sky High Sunday. It just felt very bland, it just didn't feel inspiring, and the zero gravity kind of took over this entire race, making it feel like you were driving a lot slower and it was just one giant loop. It just didn't feel that interesting. They brought back Calamari Desert from Nintendo 64 and actually made it pretty interesting, allowing us to drive through the train tunnel and stuff and on the tracks. Mario Circuit 3, of course, had to return, and a lot of people not a big fan of that since it's such a basic track. But then we have Mushroom Gorge from the Wii, which is a fan favorite, and of course, on top of fan favorites, why not have one of the biggest ones, Waluigi Pinball? I mean, it's just an amazing track. But Nintendo had a lot of like real classic tracks in this one. They had GBA Snowland, which at least was changed a little bit, but just was still very basic overall, and I can see why a lot of people wouldn't like them. I love Snowland, but once again, lots of classic tracks that they didn't do a lot to change them. But of course, you got your city tracks like New York Minute and Sydney Sprint. Now, I don't know if this one was necessarily better than Wave 1. It had a lot of real classic tracks like Calamari Desert, Mario Circuit 3, Snowland, and a lot of them weren't changed in any capacity. So, yeah, this is when we start to feel like, is Nintendo just going to put a whole bunch of classic tracks like the Mario Circuits? Why are we getting another Mario Circuit when there's so many Mario Circuits in this game already? But at the same time, it still wasn't terrible. Then Wave 3 pulled up with immediate bangers off the rip. Wii's Maple Tree Way, an absolute fan favorite, and one of the best Rainbow Roads of all time, and my personal favorite one, Mario Kart 7's Rainbow Road. And Nintendo just did not hold back with that trailer. They let people know, because they showed these 2 tracks like majority of the trailer. Of course, they have that random weird pick that they always do, like GBA Boo Lake for some reason, which is like a 15-second long lap. I don't know why they thought that one would have been the best one to choose, but you know, it is what it is. You have your city tracks again. I don't really have much to say about city tracks every single time, but you would just get like 2 or sometimes even 3 of them every single wave, which did get kind of old, but you know, I understand why they're putting them in this game simply due to the fact that once Mario Kart Tour is completely offline, you still have access to these tracks. But you had lots of really fun tracks this time around, like Peach Gardens. You even had Merry Mountain from the Nitro tracks, which was a really cool Christmas-themed track. Not the greatest, but it still was a really good one. So honestly, I thought this wave being halfway through did pretty pretty daggone good. Wave 4 would not hold back either. For the city tracks, they actually were quite different. With Singapore Speedway and also Bangkok Rush, they felt a lot different than the ones we've been getting. They weren't just some side streets, and they actually incorporated lots of the town inside of it, which I thought was really good. And of course, Wii swings in again with a banger with Wii DK Summit, which was a great one to have back, and a third city track. Yep, we're going to start to see 3 of them now, which, for better or worse, was happening. But yeah, you have Amsterdam Drift, which the graphics really shined on that one. And when I say shined, I mean not really. But some of your lesser exciting ones was Riverside Park and also Mario Circuit again, which I don't know who is like the Mario Circuit fan at Nintendo, but they keep pumping these out. But then this really big surprise one that caught all of us off guard was Yoshi's Island, which is like an exact replica of the world map from Yoshi's Island. And what else do they do? Oh yeah, Birdo is coming as a playable character. What? This was a little weird to me because I wish they actually spread these out from the very beginning instead of just waiting until the last second to say, oh yeah, we're going to put characters in this game all the way in Wave 4, which could have meant we could have got even more characters and stuff if they would have planned this ahead. But this whole thing just felt like it was just like a last second addition, and they started adding extra things here as well. They started adding like quality of life updates. For instance, the lightning item does not drop you from the sky and other things like that. Character balances after 10 years of this game being out is absolutely insane, but they were not just updating the tracks, it was clear that they were updating other aspects of the game as well. Moving on to Wave 5, I would say Wave 5 was one of the best within the entire game. We got Koopa Cape, we got LA Laps, which was a super fun, different city track. We got Moonview Highway from the Wii, which was just a fan favorite as well. We got this really cool new bathroom themed track, Squeaky Clean Sprint. We got Daisy Cruiser, which was a heavily loved one from Double Dash. We got one of the best city tracks, in my opinion, ever with Vancouver Velocity. I absolutely love this track. And not only that, they added an additional 3 new characters, being Petey Piranha, Wiggler, and Kamek. Like, what is happening? Then, of course, we have Wave 6 with Wii Rainbow Road, which actually was probably the perfect track to end this entire DLC with. But as far as the wave itself, it wasn't anything super crazy. Like, they had some, you know, couple tracks here that was left that fans were really looking for, like DK Summit and stuff. But for the most part, it was just whatever's left with the city tracks, which were very average city tracks. And overall, I don't think this was the strongest wave by any means, but it definitely did end in a great way with Wii Rainbow Road. And of course, it added like tons of brand new characters: Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Pauline, and Peachette for some reason. But the fact that we even got this many tracks in the first place, it's really hard to complain about anything. That's 48 brand new tracks in a 10-year-old game. It's kind of insane, and it kind of gave this game almost a new title. It didn't even feel like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that much anymore. It now feels like Mario Kart Ultimate, like the Smash Ultimate version of Mario Kart, where you have all of these classic tracks, all of these old characters coming back. But of course, with everything coming back, there was still some stuff missing. But of the 50 plus tracks that are missing, Nintendo really did a good job of bringing back tons of fan favorites. I mean, really catering to the Wii at the most, but it was really nice not seeing just nothing but SNES and GBA and Nintendo 64 tracks. They actually went all throughout the series and really covered a large margin of what people really loved. But that definitely doesn't mean there weren't some big hitters that Nintendo completely left out, like Mushroom Bridge and Dino Dino Jungle from Mario Kart Double Dash. I think some of the more painful ones came from Mario Kart DS, like how in the world did Luigi's Mansion not make the cut? Or Delfino Plaza, or maybe even DK Pass, and of course the beloved Airship Fortress, one of a lot of people's favorite tracks in the entire Mario Kart series. With Mario Kart Wii having a stellar appearance in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I really can't complain about anything, but of course, one of the big ones, and probably one of the only big ones left, was Toad's Factory, which a lot of people loved, and the fact that it didn't return in a lot of future Mario Karts, in fact, it didn't return at all, ever, is kind of painful. This was probably a good time to make it return in a modern Mario Kart, and we just will always have to go back to Wii to play it. With Mario Kart 7, there was only a couple that I felt like that could have made the cut, like Shy Guy Bazaar, maybe even Wario Shipyard, but another one of the gigantic ones that I couldn't believe that didn't make the cut are the 2 Woohoo Island tracks. I don't know if Nintendo's trying to just get rid of the whole Wii Sports era, and obviously this island as well, but man, it really sucks considering the fact that we have F-Zero tracks, Animal Crossing track, a Hyrule Circuit, you know what I mean? And then you just got all these tracks from all these different series. You even have like a Splatoon battle map. So how in the world did we not get something to represent Wii Sports, one of Nintendo's biggest series that got a lot of people into Nintendo in the first place? This one still kind of hurts, and the fact that this one never did return, not a single one of them, is kind of painful, I cannot lie. Then for some reason, the only tour track that didn't make it was Piranha Plant Pipeline, which I don't know if a lot of people even loved in the first place. It was a newer track that just kind of had you going through all these, you know, sewer pipes
it's kind of like tracks that we've already had, like Piranha Plant Slide, and obviously like we had Piranha Plant Cove in that wave, so it just made sense why it didn't appear. Also, the fact that it was actually originally made, I think, to be a DS track that was scrapped, so they just threw it in a tour at the very end. So yeah, I get why it wasn't added, but still it's kind of weird that there's only going to be a single tour track, or at least a single original tour track that didn't make the cut. It's a little strange. And of course, with the characters, Nintendo did really well. I still think there were some characters that should have definitely had the spot over Peachette, which is still just mind-blowing to me. I mean, but at the end of the day, you're only missing a couple like Nabbit, Captain Toad, which you don't really necessarily need. You already have the Toads. We don't have the Hammer Bros, which would have been cool to have all their little alts, like the Fire Bro, the Boomerang Bro, and stuff. We don't have Charging Chuck. We don't have DK Jr. We don't have King Bob-omb, which feels like he's becoming a real series staple at this point. We don't have Monty Mole, and we don't have Dixie Kong. And there's like maybe a couple others that I'm missing, like Poochie from the Yoshi series. So I really don't have any complaints when it comes to characters. I just don't understand the Peachette thing. That's just the one thing. It was a character for one specific New Super Mario Bros. Game, and it was a deluxe version of that game. So I don't know why this character even had a chance to make it into this roster. It had to be because she was easier than the rest. I don't know why she would have been, considering the fact that they had to make a biker suit for her. So actually, I don't know why she made the game. I've definitely been reading comments and hearing a lot of people also was kind of sad that there was no battle tracks, and I completely get it. As somebody that doesn't even play battle at all, I'd still get it, because the last Mario Karts, or at least the last couple, had some really good ones. I mean, there was the giant DS one, and the one where you fought on like a GameCube and stuff, and there was just some fun tracks that they could have just brought back in the same vein. Maybe like 2 or 3 a wave or something would have been cool, but not even that. Maybe like 1 a wave would have been, I think justified. But at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. We got at least some proper battle tracks within this version of Mario Kart 8, so that's really all that matters. But look, we could all sit and complain why a lot of our favorite tracks maybe still didn't make the cut, but at the end of the day, Nintendo snapped. I think we can all agree that Nintendo added a vast majority of the fan favorites and really only left out a small handful. I think they left out just enough fan favorites to give us maybe one more cup, like 8 tracks if they wanted to, and that's really good. To have an additional 48 tracks and the majority of them be really good is awesome. Some people like the city tracks, some people don't. They did take a lot of spaces from some other classics that we could have gotten, so I get some complaints there. Some of the city tracks are a lot of fun, some of them not so much, but the purpose of this was simply to save these tracks, to save them in this game when Mario Kart Tour inevitably does shut down its servers. And I cannot be mad at them for that, because I would like to eventually go back and replay through all these tracks and stuff, and that's what this Mario Kart game is going to be. And that's why I keep telling people that the next Mario Kart game may not have any classic tracks in it, because this is supposed to be that ultimate Mario Kart. If you want to go back and play these old tracks, you can. You just boot up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and you got all these tracks for many, many years to come. And if you want to play some new crazy tracks, that's what the next Mario Kart will be for. When we get Mario Kart 9, 10, whatever, Ultimate, whatever the next Mario Kart is going to be. But Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's DLC Booster Pass was a blast. It was 2 years of very long waits for all these tracks, but I am happy to say I'm glad that it's over. I think they were some really fun experiences with my friends that I never would have had if this didn't even happen. We probably would not have been playing baseline Mario Kart anywhere near this much. So to be able to have tons of brand new DLC tracks, or at least returning tracks, to keep us entertained for the last 2 years has been absolutely phenomenal. And I'm so excited to see what the future of Mario Kart has in store. So if I had to give a personal rank for this DLC, I would give it around an 8 and maybe even a 9. Let's say like an 8.5. I think I love what we have gotten from these classic tracks. I think it took a little too long. Going 2 years of doing this was a long time, but we got a lot of tracks. We got a lot of fan favorites. We even got characters on top of it. I just wish it was planned a little bit better, like we knew about the characters from the beginning instead of just a last-second thing. And also considering the fact that, yeah, there's a lot of tour tracks. And I think overall, after around halfway through, a lot of us, including me, my friends, and a lot of people I know, got real tired of seeing another city track, another city track, another city track, and they all just kind of blended together. I mean, I can't even really remember half of their names and what they look like because there's just so many of them. But yes, around an 8.5 is what I would give it. And it was a fun time for sure. Let me know what you guys think of the DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And I'm thinking about making just one giant review for this game, talking about every aspect of the game that I possibly can talk about. I'm actually thinking about it. But let me know in the meantime what you guys think of the DLC and what you would want changed and what was your favorite part about it. But thank you for tuning in, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.